Flyouts, 5-star dinners, and first dates that look like sponsored vacations. Oh yes, sis, the streets are wild. But here's my question. Before you post that he better fly me out, can you even book yourself an Uber Black to the airport? Because if you can't cover the baggage fee, why are you out here demanding first-class treatment from strangers? So today we're going to be unpacking the modern dating wish list, vacays, steakhouse standards, and why the Cheesecake Factory apparently isn't good enough anymore.
Talk to me, Michele, on the street lights on the corner. City vibes got a story. Feel the beat, don't ignore me.
Welcome into the Talk to Me Michele podcast. I appreciate your listening ears on this episode. It's going to be a very interesting one. If this is your first time tuning in, don't make it your last. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And also, hit the share button like it owes you money. All right, let some other people get in on this wisdom and good old common sense. Now, before I get into today's episode, I want to make sure you guys are aware of my 2 coloring books that are now both available on Amazon. Color Me Unbothered and Color Me Sassy. Now, Color Me Unbothered is about just having a nonchalant attitude and actually getting through life without all the extra. The Color Me Sassy might be the response you need to certain situations. Either way, get your color therapy on and grab a copy of either Color Me Unbothered or Color Me Sassy, or color me both. Let's go ahead and unpack these modern day dating demands because the list is longer than a CVS receipt. So apparently the Cheesecake Factory doesn't qualify as a real date spot anymore. And I'm like, excuse me, they have over 700 items on the menu, number one. And they also have that brown bread. And that brown bread deserves a solo spotlight on the Food Network itself. But social media has declared it being beneath us. Okay, my question is, can you pay the bill for the dinner? Without overdrafting your account, of course. That's the part I want to know. And then there's this new trend where women expect to be flown out on the first date. Let me just say this. If the first time I meet you involves TSA, a passport, and 3 flight delays, I think we skipped about 12 steps of getting to know each other. What happened to just meeting up for coffee to make sure he's not a serial killer? But it doesn't stop there because I've seen crazy footage of women bringing their friends to the first date. Like, is this a date or is this a Groupon outing? Because if I show up expecting 1 plate and suddenly I'm paying for 3, somebody's going to jail. And the wildest part, some women are actually ordering food to go for their kids at home. So that's not a date. That's like Uber Eats with extra steps. Now, here's the central question that keeps me stuck. I mean, could you do this for yourself? Like, seriously, could you fly yourself out? Could you take yourself out to that steakhouse? Could you treat yourself the way you are demanding a stranger treats you? Because if the answer is no, then we need to talk about what's really going on here. And I'm not saying this to bash women. I'm a woman myself. But let's be real. A lot of us are being influenced by TV, reality shows, and some of these social media influencers who are posting colorated highlight reels of their so-called luxury lives. Half the time, they're doing a collaboration, okay? It's a brand collaboration, not because some man pulled out his American Express for her. But you see this and you start believing it's a standard now. And we've got music videos telling us to buy me a bag, and the reality stars being whisked away on yachts, and suddenly real life dates feel like a ripoff, right? It's like we're all living in a season of love and hip hop, but without the budget. But the reality is, if we keep measuring real relationships against stage ones, disappointment is waiting for us at the hostess stand with a pager in hand. Let me get to something I like to call the entitlement trap. Because social media has some of y'all out here acting like dating is an Olympic sport and the man's wallet is a gold medal. See, it starts innocent enough. I just want a man who takes me nice places, who treats me well, who spoils me. Okay, that's cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be treated well. But somewhere along the way, it went from having standards to expecting sponsorship. Like, are you out here trying to date this man, or are you signing up for a scholarship program? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-nice things. And I like luxury. I love a good steakhouse. I definitely love a great vacation. And I sure won't turn down a glass of champagne. But there's a difference. It's not about wanting nice things. It's about not needing someone else's wallet to get them. That's the part that makes it sexy. When you could take yourself out to that rooftop dinner, and then when a man offers it, it feels like an addition, not a lifeline. But entitlement flips the whole script. It whispers, he's supposed to. He's supposed to fly you out. He's supposed to drop a bag. He's supposed to pay for your friends' appetizers. And the danger is it becomes less about building a connection and more about building an invoice. But what tickles me is that some of y'all don't even like these men. You don't even like his jokes. You don't like his cologne. You don't even like his mama. But as long as he's swiping the card for you, you smiling for the gram. That's not dating. That's hustling. And the problem with entitlement is it never stops. Once you've convinced yourself that you're owed certain things, you keep raising the bar without ever bringing anything to the table yourself. And then you just sitting there mad because he only took you out to a steakhouse like Ruth Chris and not another upscale restaurant. Girl, you had a free steak. Calm down. Be grateful before God humbles you back to Applebee's for the 2 for $20. In my perspective as a woman, I believe in having standards. Standards keep you safe. They keep you respected. They keep you from wasting your time on dusty situations. But entitlement, that's when you start demanding things you can't even do for yourself. And that's where the mess begins. Now let's talk about the culture machine that keeps this mess spinning, like the music, reality TV, and social media. It's all a big bundle deal. Because really, a lot of these expectations aren't coming from your grandmama's advice about keeping your standards high. They're coming from straight hip-hop hooks, Instagram and TikTok reels. You know, we got songs out here telling us, buy me a bag or don't bother calling me back. Sis, if a designer bag company made a frequent flyer program, half the dating pool would have diamond elite status by now. Then there's the vacate me or lose me attitude. Like if he doesn't whisk you off to the islands after 3 FaceTimes, he's not serious. Honestly, you rarely hear pack your bags, we're going to go to Costa Rica. The reality is it's more like pack your patience, we finna hit that Home Depot. That's real life. And don't get me started on reality shows because if you watch too much of it, you'll start thinking first dates require yachts, champagne fountains, and a confessional camera crew. Meanwhile, the reality is you over here trying to figure out how to stretch your check until Friday. And here's the question that bothers me. Are we teaching young women that love equals luxury? That if he's not dropping stacks, then he doesn't care. Because if that's the formula, we're setting ourselves up for disappointment and a lot of debt. Now, I will be fair. Men pull games too. Let's not act like the fellas are saints. Some of them will sell you a dream, ghost you after you've rearranged your whole schedule, or show up to a situationship they forgot to mention. But today, I'm keeping the lens on us, the women. Because while standards are healthy, the problem is when those standards start looking like a shopping list and the man is just supposed to scan his card to prove his worth. That's a problem. Music and media might hype it up. We have got to check ourselves. Love should feel like a partnership, not like you're applying for a luxury sponsorship. And I'm going to help you with the difference between partnership and sponsorship because there's a big difference and a lot of us are confusing the two. A partnership is when you bring something to the table. He brings something to the table. And y'all sit down and eat together. That's teamwork. That's grown love. That's building. A sponsorship, that's when you show up empty-handed. You have a long list of demands. You don't want a man. You want a provider, a bank account, a walking black card. And don't get me wrong. There are men out here who are happy to play sponsor. But to be realistic, sponsors usually come with terms and conditions. And trust me, the fine print is not cute. Now, I'm not saying women shouldn't have expectations. Absolutely, have standards. Know your worth. But there is a difference. A standard is, I want to be with someone who respects me, who makes me feel safe, who enjoys building a life with me. That's real grown woman talk. A sponsorship mindset is if you're not flying me out, buying me designer items, feeding my kids on the first date, then you don't qualify. So that's not a standard. That is a hustle. And let me give you my personal perspective as a woman. I love nice things. I love good dinners, good trips. I love a little luxury, but there's a thing. I don't need someone else's wallet to get it. And the reality is when you are relying on someone else's wallet for everything, you're basically handing over your power. If he's paying for everything, then he controls the vibe. He controls whether the vacation happens. He controls if that steak dinner shows up. And that's not partnership. That's dependence. Partnership is about building something where both people contribute, maybe not always financially, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, in an effort. Sponsorship, that's just a transaction with lipstick on it. And ladies, I want to leave you with this. Stop selling yourself short. Stop thinking you got to wait for somebody's son to come along and fund your fun. Be your own sponsor first, and let the partnership be the upgrade, not the baseline. Now, before I wrap up this episode, I've got to slide into one of my favorite parts of the show, the listener letter. Because look, it's one thing to sit here and talk about women asking for flyouts and lobster tails on the first date. It's another thing to hear real life circus acts happening out here in these dating streets. And y'all never disappoint. Dear Michelle, I went on a date last weekend with a guy who seemed great, funny, well-dressed, easy to talk to. We ended up at the sports bar and everything was going well until the check came. He suggested we split it, which I didn't mind. But then he slid his portion of the bill to me and said, "Can you cover this? I forgot my wallet in the car." He never came back with the wallet. I ended up paying for the whole thing. The kicker, he texted me later saying he had a great time and wanted to see me again. I'm pretty sure this text was meant for someone else, but if he did mean to text me, why would I give him another chance? Girl, I'm sorry. That wallet did not get lost. It went into a witness protection program. That man knew exactly what he was doing. And how do you forget your wallet on a date? You remembered your phone, your keys, your cologne, and your fresh haircut, but the wallet couldn't make it, huh? Lies. Deceit. Secondly, the fact that he slid the bill to you like y'all were in some type of mafia negotiation, that tells me everything I need to know. He was not embarrassed. He was testing you. He wanted to see if you played sponsor while he played slick. And the fact that you never saw that wallet again, case closed. Now, giving him another chance, oh, absolutely not. What is he going to forget next time? The rent? His car note? His whole identity? You are not his ATM. You are not his financial aid office. And you are not about to be financing mozzarella sticks for a man who can't even pretend to respect your time. So my advice, don't entertain that foolery. Treat yourself to a dinner on your own credit card. That's what you need to do for yourself. Because if he can't even bring his wallet to the table, I promise you, he's not bringing anything else that's worth keeping either. And this is where I'm going to put a little bow on today's topic. The bottom line, don't ask for something you cannot do for yourself. If you can't book the flight, don't demand the fly out. If you can't buy the steak, don't clown someone for taking you to the Cheesecake Factory, especially when their brown bread is still undefeated. At the end of the day, self-sufficiency is the real flex, and partnership will always feel better than sponsorship. Now, before we go, let me drop a couple of plugs because you know your girl is staying creative. If you need some peace, relaxation, and maybe a little sass on paper, grab my coloring books, Color Me Unbothered and Color Me Sassy, perfect for grown folks who need to unwind and laugh at the same time. And if you're thinking about moving abroad, join us on our Facebook group, the Panama Black Expat Network. This is where we connect, encourage, and share real resources about making Panama your next chapter. Finally, if you love the podcast and want to show some love, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/Talk to Me Michele with 1L to support the show. And make sure you're following me on all socials at Talk to Me Michele for episode updates, clips, a little extra shade in between recordings. So until next time, remember the best date you'll ever go on is the one you could take yourself on. Until next time, people, I'm out. Peace.
Talk to me, Michelle.